This will be a screencast about approval testing, which will mainly feature some code that I will write to show how approval testing works in Java using the ApprovalTests Java package. But first, on a very broad overview, compared to unit testing, which I have here on the left, unit testing has the phases arrange, act, assert, where the necessary code and dependencies are set up. Then the function under test is called, and assertions are written and called to test some properties of the action that was performed, to check that the output is correct. In contrast, approval tests have the same two first phases, but the result of the action is pre-printed, so that only the most relevant parts of the output that are relevant for the actual functionality are kept, and then the produced string or whatever data format is used has to be manually approved, and then the next time the test is run, this approval will happen automatically and the test will pass if the printed output is the same as it was previously. Approval testing has also been known as regression testing, snapshot testing, characterization testing, or as locking test. But I much prefer the term approval, because the goal here is not to make sure that no matter how you change the code, the function should always output the same. We are trying to create a program that is correct, which among other things mean you have to approve the output and not just save it and make sure it never changes. As I said, I will be using the ApprovalTests Java package, which has this GitHub page that will also be linked in the screencast. I will not show how to install it. I'm only showing the GitHub page's instructions here, because this will vary from project to project. The nice thing about this ApprovalTests package is that it is part of a whole family of packages for many different programming languages that all use the same basic idea. And now I'm going to show a short example of approval testing using Java with a Maven project that I have created here. So the test case example that I will be showing is this chicken coop class, which has just a single variable, chickens, that determines how many chickens are in the coop. And the function we'll be testing is called getChickens, which returns a list of chicken emoji as just strings, where every fifth chicken has to be newly hatched and the rest are adult, using this molo check here. I have written already a unit test that uses the usual arrange, act, assert setup. So we are instantiating a chicken coop with 15 chickens, and then we're calling the function that we're testing. And what I'm asserting is that it should have 15 chickens in it, and the fifth indexed chicken should be newly hatched. I run tests by clicking these green buttons, and you can see this test passes, of course. Now if I wanted to check the whole output instead of just these two random assertions, I could switch to to approval test instead. So first I should print my output, so I'm not just calling to string on this array list. It might be fine, but it's going to be a bit unwieldy. Instead I'd like a string with chickens separated by new lines. There we are. And now I can use the ApprovalTests framework So that is done by approvals package dot verify, and then for example I can verify this printed chickens string. Now I expect this test is going to fail when I run it the first time, and indeed this is the case. But what has also happened is that a new file has been produced by default in the same folder as my test class is contained within, which is this received snapshot. It has the naming convention, the testing class, and the testing function that was called .received.txt, or whatever appropriate file ending. It can also serialize Java classes as JSON and do snapshot testing or approval testing on that. So what I do is I look at the chickens, they look good. So I rename the file to be approved instead of received. This approved naming convention is what the tests look for. So when I run it again, it's going to pass. This also, this approach also scales nicely. So if I want to test a big coop instead, I can just add a 0 to the end here. And now when I run it, I'll get a test big coop snapshot received. And what I can see from this is, I see that there are 150 chickens in total. If I do Control F, I see 30 hatchlings, which matches every fifth. So I approve this file, and now when I run the test, it passes. And lastly, let's say that the customer goes and tells us that this function is wrong. It shouldn't be the first chicken that's a hatchling, like we see here. It should be the fifth chicken by 1 index, not 0 indexed. So we start I at 1 so that this condition will fail the first time instead. So with this correction in the code, now if we run this snapshot test again, or this approval test, it's of course going to fail. And new snapshots will be received. This one for the big coop, where we can see now it's the 5th, 10th, 15th, 20th chicken that's a hatchling. So we approve this instead. And this is not allowed, of course, so we remove the old one first. Then we can approve it. I guess it's also possible to copy paste it in. This looks good too. And now when I rerun the tests, they are going to pass. That is the end of the screencast. I hope you will consider whether approval tests are right for your project or not. And in either case, I wish you good luck with your further work.